Yeah. Let us start from there. Why do you pride yourself to be called a farmer?
All right. Maybe let me start from how I became a farmer.
Okay, please do.
I am by training a banker.
Wow.
I did 27 good years in the bank.
Wow.
So when I left, I look at what I could do to impact first and foremost on my own life, then my community. So now I discovered that there is an adage in my language that says it is the strength inside that you use to drive the force outside, meaning that o continue laughing betita. And what we mean by the strength inside is the food that is in you, right? When you eat good food, you'll be able to drive, you'll be able to think well, all right? So I said, okay, let me go into feeding people. But because I'm in Lagos, I now look at what can I do in Lagos that can be impactful. It is either I go into poultry, or I go into piggery, or I go into fish farming. So I look at that, I say, well, fish farming seems to be a little bit lucrative.
Okay.
So I did a little training. One of my auntie taught me how to do fish farming. And because I was a bit fast, so I was able to settle for that, and I started my fish farming way back in 2004. And since then, honestly speaking, I've never regretted.
Wow.
And I think I love to do what I do right now.
It's interesting to know
Very,
that
very interesting.
27 years in banking, and now it's a whole different profession entirely. Well, let's talk about the finance that comes with it, because that's where people break it down and say, oh, we know we need to do agriculture, but then it's also capital consuming.
Fantastic.
And then listening to you, one would have thought it's easy for you to have gathered a lot of money, having worked with the bank for 27 years, and then you start something big. After all, what you're looking for is, where do I invest the money? So let's break it down and become a bit more realistic for the viewer on how to finance this.
Okay,
kind of
let's break it down again further. You see, in agric, whether you call it, whether it's fish farming, whether it's poultry, whatever value chain you are looking at in agric, there's what we call the subsistent farming, and there's what we call the commercial farming. The subsistent farming, you can just put your hand in your pocket, buy 1 or 2 birds, if they are poultry, put them behind your backyard, and begin to give them corn and millet, and by Christmas you begin to slaughter them, and you have a very nice Christmas. The same thing with fish farming. You can put your hand in your pocket, get to somebody that is into what they call hatching, buy about 100 or even 50 pieces of fingerlings, get a small bath, put them there, begin to drop some little food, and in 2-3 months you begin to take your fish one by one and begin to kill them, and you'll be having a very nice dish. But when it comes to commercial farming, the commissioner in Lagos State said some times ago, and I think I want to agree with him absolutely. He said if you want to do farming, and then he was referring to crop farming, especially cassava. He said if you want to do cassava farming, and you have only 4 hectares, not acres, 4 hectares of land, and you want to plant your cassava on it, he said, man, let me tell you, I'm not deceiving you. You are only trying to feed your stomach. 4 hectares, not acres. So that means to do commercial farming, you must have something big, right? Now let's come to my own area. If you want to do fish farming on a commercial basis, I mean commercial basis, that can sustain you, you must be able to rear at least 5,000 fingerlings, at least. And either you call them fingerlings, post fingerlings, post juvenile, jumbo, as the case may be. It depends on the age, right? Now, to feed one, it's just the simple mathematics. If you get to the market to buy feed, if a kilo of feed is 500, right? So that means that 500 multiplied by the numbers of fingerlings that you are going to raise. So if you are talking of 5,000, and now it's a very good feed is between 600 to 700 per kilo. So you are talking of 5,000 times 700. You are talking about 3.5 to raise 5,000 fingerlings, right? And you can achieve that within 5-6 months. And by the time you do that, you are going to have a fairly good margin. So you can now do your calculation.
Wow.
So that means you need about at least 3 million, between 3 million and 3.5 to start a good or a commercially viable fish farming. But like I said earlier, if it is just subsistence farming, you can just get a small pot or a bath, put it behind your house, put 2 or 3 fingerlings there, and begin to drop them. You know, like just like that.
Okay, fine. Let's look at the value chain proper now. I know the value chain in agric is a very long one. And someone once said somewhere that it's that effective enough to employ about 60%, about 60% of Nigerians, But the question right now is that in our intro, we said something about Nigeria growing a whole lot of crops, At the end of the day, before we know it, we end up having a whole lot of wastages because we've not actually, explored, the benefits derivable from the agricultural value chain. Now, for instance, I'm a farmer. I grow cassava, and I really want to explore that aspect, But what I would do naturally would be just to grow the cassava, when it's time for harvest, I harvest and I process what I can process for myself, and then sometimes I even take it to the market myself. I'm actually the one in the complete value chain, So why is it that we've not been able to, really explore? Why do we have to do everything by ourselves?
My brother, you see, the problem is not peculiar to agric. It's not. It is that, will I say, it is that factor, sorry to say, whether it's a Nigerian factor or whatever it is, we want to own our business 100%. And that is why we are not growing. Whether you call it agribusiness or any other vocational, that is why we are not growing. You don't want to bring in a partner, a technical partner, collate yourself together. This one will bring an idea, this one will bring an idea. You have collation of things, So when you are the same person that is providing the seed, starting from there, you are the same person providing the inputs, you are the same person doing the primary production, you are the same person doing the processing, you are the same person doing the logistics, you are the same person doing the marketing. There is no way that business can grow. There's absolutely no way. So not until we now say, okay, well, we see agric itself as a business. That is one other thing we are not seeing it. We are not seeing agric as a business. We see it maybe as a vocational, maybe as a hobby. But agric really, it's a business. And until you go into it with a business sense, right? Like you want to form a bank all alone, you can't do it all alone. You need shareholders, you need stakeholders. So the same thing in agric business. You need somebody that you have your own areas of specialization. Like in my own case, I'm a fish farmer. What I do that I love doing in that fish farming is smoking. That's the processing, right? If I sleep, you tell me what you want in your fish, you want the moisture content to be so and so, I will give it to you. I have time, I can time my oven. It will give me this percentage of moisture. Wow. You want it fresh, you want it very hardcore, you want it skin, I will process that and I will give it to you the way you want it. That is my own, that's what I enjoy doing. I leave others to do what they are doing. I leave others to do the hatching. When they do the hatching, I go there, I buy from them. I put them in the pond in case. And why I do that is in case when it is time for me to smoke, when I have a large order, I don't get. So I just go into my pond and harvest and I smoke. But ordinary days, I go out and I buy, right? So what I'm saying is I leave others to do their job. When others are doing their job, right? If I go there to go and buy theirs, there will be a vacuum created. So they can add, right? They can improve on their own performance. So the same thing with me. If they leave me also to do my own processing, right? Not competing with me, I do my own processing. By the time I am offloading to my off-takers, there's going to be a vacuum, right? I try to fill that vacuum. And as I'm filling the vacuum, I'm filling other vacuums that will be so created as well. You get my point? So that's the problem we have. So, and I so much love so much love your intro. You see, the problem that we face mainly is that we lay too much emphasis on primary production, and that is not really good. Aside from the finance, probably maybe we will still get back to that. You see, we lay too much emphasis on primary production. Okay, government want to empower the primary production. Yeah, take money, go and produce. Take money, go and produce. You empower almost everybody to produce. What happens after the production? The market is not there. The market is not activated. So where are we going to offload to? That's why we have a problem. Whether it is in the fish farming, whether it is in the crop farming, whether it is in other livestock farming, that is the core problem. Let us establish the what they call the processing first and foremost. That's what others did. The Malaysian that we are talking about, they established their oil processing first before they came here to take the seed. Okay, so let us establish our processing first and foremost. And that's one thing I think I so much love about Lagos State. They are establishing rice mills all over the place. So that one is encouraging the primary rice farmers. So if you have something like that also in other agricultural value chain, you will encourage them. If, for instance, in my own area, let's assume that Lagos State can do one thing for us. Maybe each senatorial district create a commercial processing plant in Lekki, Badagry, Ikorodu, Agege, and the rest of them like that, right? Okay, instead of me now running my own mini micro processor, right? I can go there maybe every week. I can go there with about a ton of fresh fish. Okay, please smoke for me. I give you my specification. I come back and pick it. It is cheaper for me, right, to run that way. And for the organizers of the processing plant too, it is very, very economical for them.
That's right.
So if I know that there's a processing plant here, I will not bother flogging my own facilities. I have to go and get charcoal. I have to go and get, if I'm going to use gas, depending on the market I'm going to offload to, if I need to send them for export, because people there, European countries, they don't want our charcoal smoked fish. So you have to power it by gas or by electricity. I know what electricity is, right? I have to get diesel, get this one. It is so expensive. By the time I bring out my fish and I tell you that, well, this 500 gram of dry fish is 2,500, you say, we won't buy them. But by the time I give you the cost analysis of that smoked fish, it is just about maybe 2,300 thereabout. So what's my profit? 200 naira. That excludes all the logistics that I've put into it. So if we are able to establish processing plants for all our agricultural value chains, all of them put together, right? We can get there, offload, and the market will come alive.
Let's take fish processing as one stage in the value chain, which you say is your interest. And you also have been able to identify what the challenges are. When you put all of this together, one begin to wonder then, how do farmers survive and how do you make the money after all? But then the processing, you talked about smoking. Do you do that on a large scale as well?
Yeah, you see, even in, I said one thing earlier, that in every agri value chain, it is either subsistence or commercial. Yes. So also in processing, we have micro processors and we have the major processors. I'm not regarding myself as a microprocessor. I'm just a mini processor because my processing plant can only smoke about 240 at once. That's 240 kilo at once. We have a processing kiln that can smoke 2 tons at once. It's as big as the whole of this place. 2 tons at once within 8 hours. Okay, so you can make that, you can see that comparison. Now, the challenges that we have. Now, if I'm going to smoke that 240 kilo at once, I will need to get at least 2 bags, of good charcoal, very good charcoal. And Lagos, we don't have charcoal in Lagos. They bring all the charcoal from Ogun State, very good ones. I will need some other things like the salt that I'm going to use to wash, I will need labor that I'm going to dress, we need about almost 4 hands. I will clean, dress, fold, and then load onto to the oven. Now, the oven itself, we have locally fabricated ones that are fairly good, right? And we also have some imported ones that are equally good. But because I'm a local person, I always encourage and I use locally fabricated oven. That is very, very good. In fact, it's even fabricated by one of our members in our cooperatives. Very, very good. That can compete with any oven anywhere, right? The oven itself, because the input into the oven is equally imported.
Okay.
The iron sheet that they use, all the welding instrument, everything is imported. So the cost of the oven is fairly high. It's fairly high. So by the time I get an oven between 500 to 800,000, right, that I can use, the accountant will tell us that such assets you can only use that for between maximum of 4 years. Maximum 4 years. So I have to amortize it or depreciate it over 4 years. 800,000 over 4 years. Where will that one come from? It has to be from the profit I'm going to make. If I don't set my depreciation, by the time the oven is worn out, I won't be able to buy another one. And that would mean no business. That is one. Then, the main material, the input itself, which is the fresh fish. Getting the fresh fish is another tug of war. Getting a quality fresh fish is a tug of war. And what I mean,
tug of war?
Yes, what I mean by that is this. Now, you see, processing is what you put in is what you get out.
Yes,
the same language you talk about computer, whatever it is.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out. Right. Now, if I don't feed my fish very, very well, and I feed them with junks, and they come out big, full of fats, by the time I load them onto the oven, what happens to the fat?
They will melt and they'll shrink.
Not only will they shrink, the fat will be dropping on the hot plate.
Okay.
Don't forget that these things are powered by either by charcoal or by gas or by electricity, and there's a burner under that heats the oven. So when the fat is dropping on the hot place, it can ignite fire. You're likely to lose. If you even lose only the oven, good luck. But you may lose the whole processing plant. So getting quality fish is a problem. So those of us that are into processing, we always identify the primary farmers and look at what they are using to feed their fish. If I get to your farm and I see what you use to feed your fish, I can only be a little bit magnanimous. Instead of maybe buying 100 kg, I will say, okay, just give me like 20 kg that I have changed my mind. I know what I mean. I just changed my mind. But I've seen what I don't want to happen in my own factory, right? But if I feed, it could be expensive. If I feed my own fish by myself, it could be a bit expensive for me. But I will get flesh from them. So when you smoke quality fish, you will get flesh. But when you smoke fish that is full of fat, at the end of the day, you will see the fish will not shrink and you have only the skin. Only the skin, because by then the fat will have been burned off. So that's the major challenge that we have, getting the quality fish to feed. And like I said earlier, if I begin to do grow out and at the same time I'm doing my processing, I won't be able to concentrate on one. By the time I have a large order, please go and bring this, I say, okay, I'm doing something else. No, it doesn't really work. That's not business like. It's not business.
Okay, let us talk about economies of large-scale production, and let's look at where the country now, let's make it a national outlook, where the country has a large comparative advantage. For instance, I know we used to pride ourselves as the largest grower of cocoa, and of course our groundnut pyramid and all that. Okay, if we really asked to take agric seriously to diversify the country's economy, and I'm talking about where we have advantage. What should we be looking at vis-a-vis the value chain in that particular sector?
Well, okay, in that area, right, there is tendency for me to say fish farming. Fish farming. Yes, there is that tendency. But you see, because I'm from up country, I'm from Kwara State, and I know that we have land mass, right? So where we have our own advantage is the land. So we should look at, well, for now, I think we have been recognized as the highest producer of cassava.
That's right.
We can flog that one. Cassava is very, very good, right? Very, very, both the tubers, the stem, the leaves, they are all money. So we can look at that cassava. But because I'm not into cassava, I'm in Lagos, right? We can still come back to aquaculture. Now, I was reading somewhere on the social media where they place the land, the size of each state. Instead, Niger State has about 92,000 kilometers square of hectares or whatever. Lagos is just 3,000. And I was now wondering, okay, Lagos State 3,000. That means just the land.
Right.
But we have the lagoon, don't we? We have the lagoon, we have the ocean. All these are not explored at all. We have all the creeks. Somebody was telling us, from the Ministry of Environment was telling us that about 5 big rivers, 5 rivers enters Lagos. 5 rivers. So if 5 rivers are coming into Lagos, that means there are creeks, big creeks. The Ogun River is there. The one in the Kotun, they are all there. I mean, Ikorodu, they are all there. So the creeks are also there. We are not looking at these areas. Though Lagos State has started something in Agbawa, where we have what we call the cage culture or the lagoon, but that is still very, very small. The whole of Unilag waterfront is there. We can flog all those areas. If you convert about, let's even just convert 20% of our lagoon to fish ponds, you can imagine what we can do. We can flog that. Right.
Well, quite interesting. I almost got lost in your conversation. But then let's also begin to, you talked about the importance of having you concentrating on the particular process.
Yes.
Let's take cassava for example. Nigeria being the largest producer of cassava, and then there was a time when I think it was they were encouraging exchanging cassava with flour in bread, and then after a while we lost touch with that. Who really has that responsibility to power the value chain? Because if we have cassava, then I'm wondering what exactly are we doing with the cassava? Most of it lost it into post-production wastages.
Sure. You know, I said one thing earlier. I said our emphasis had always been on the primary production, and that's a very serious misnomer. As we are looking at the primary production, we should not forget the processing.
That's right.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. In my village, I have a friend who went into cassava production when they were encouraging them to go into cassava, blah, blah, blah. And then when I called him, I said, let's get land and do cassava now. The guy said, senior, because I'm a bit, he said, senior, that area is a no-go area. I lost 7 million on cassava. I said, what happened? When he narrated his story to me, I really felt bad for him, really. The problem was that, yes, the government was encouraging primary production. Go to the farm, just go and farm, and people went in en masse, and they were farming, and at the end there was nobody to buy the cassava. That is one. Then again, you see, cassava, there are various species of cassava. There are those that are edible and those that are not edible. But majority of the farmers, they don't know. Just give me the stem of cassava. They just go to the farm and begin to plant. By the time it's harvest time, and you now call in somebody to come and harvest, he now takes a sample, go and do the testing, say, no, this one is not edible. It's only for pharmaceuticals. And this is the price we are going to buy. But by then, we have wasted a lot of things. So now we don't do, to start with, we don't do our planning, first and foremost. In farming, it is critically essential to do a business plan in farming. Whether you want to do it small time or big time, do a thorough business plan. Then be following that business plan rigorously. You follow it till the end when it's harvest time. Then the next thing is, most of us, we expect the government to do absolutely everything for us, and that is not good enough. We expect the government set up a processing plant for us, government set up silo for us, government tar the road for us, government do this thing for us. No, we are expecting too much. All those areas that we are expecting the government to do, they are business avenues. The roads, somebody can wake up one day and say, well, the road from here to that village, I want to take it up, and I put a toll. What stops you from discussing with your the government of your state? You put a toll there. This road, you make sure it's very habitable for all the trucks that can go there. You put a toll there. You have your government backing. You put a toll. As they are coming in, they pay their whatever. Near to the farm also, you can, a private person can build up silos, build up storage facilities, bring your products here for a fee. If they are livestock, like our fish, that it needs to be cold store, right? Put up a very big gen. Put your what do you call, blast freezer there. Well, for 2 days, I charge you this much, right? That is business. But we expect the government to do virtually, if not everything. Government should provide light. Government should provide road. Government should provide water. These are business areas that you and I, we can do. We can approach the bank if you don't have the money. We can approach the bank, get a very beautiful business plan, proposal. This is what I want to do. By the time the bank also see, you mean you can do something like this? Yes. And you have approval from your state. That's the most important thing.
But thank God you've been with the bank. The credit facility, the interest rate,
That's
for
another
instance.
issue. The interest rate really is not many.
The interest rate is not
ventures.
No, it depends on the way you package it, right? I'm not speaking for the bank, right? But I know. But see, I know it is not as difficult as people think it is. Really? Getting bank loan, it is not. What the bank wants to do, if you can convince the banker that, see, this business is doable, it is viable. The banks, they love money more than you love you love money. They love money more than you love the money. The moment they see that, this business is bankable, I tell you the naked truth, they'll be parading your place every time. Okay, is that not ready? How should I come and pick it up? Is it not ready? Because they know that there's money in it.
Okay, but then again, you have to consider all of the fees and the cost of funds when you talk about getting a loan from the bank. It's still Galaxy. We are talking agriculture this morning. We are trying to explore the benefits in the agric value chain, and we still have Mr. Oladimeji. He's a farmer with us here in the house.
Thank you very much for staying the course on the show. Let's check some feedback now. From the viewers, you guys are doing a great job. Timothy from Ajinapa, Gambari, Ogbomoso in Oyo State. Mr. Oladimeji, really good on this field, fish farming. I want to ask, how about someone having the intention of going into piggery? What's the initial capital? And please, let's discuss cashew plantation. It's now good for exportation. Well, I'm wondering if you know anything about piggery. But let's start with cashew, because I schooled in Ogbomoso.
Okay.
And then it's amazing to see how cashew grew of its own accord. And then you're just driving past, you're seeing cashew everywhere. The same with mango. And then you're wondering, is it that there hasn't been any known development of how to preserve and process these fruits such that we allow that huge and enormous wastage?
Well, you've said it right. You see, there is I'll come back to that. There is a juice manufacturing company here in Lagos. I don't want to mention name. And they try to localize their inputs. But after some time, over the years, they failed. And why did they fail? Because the farmers, it is either the farmers were trying to play smart, or they don't know much about those inputs. For instance, in orange juice, for instance, if you pluck the orange from the tree and you process it, the taste you are going to have will be very sharp, very sour. But if you allow the orange to fall on its own, and you pick it, you are going to have a different taste. It is the same thing in fruit processing.
Wow.
So the same thing in cashew. If you go to the tree and you say, oh, this cashew is ripe, and you pluck it off, and you say you want to process it, you are not going to get the taste of the juice itself until you allow it to ripen itself and falls. When it does that, you go pick them up. So we don't have that, we don't have that patience. We want to make money fast, right? We don't want to, oh, this thing is ripe. We don't want any birds or anything to eat it up. So let me just pluck it and begin to supply. That's where we have our problems. That is for cashew and the rest. I don't know much about cashew, but I know that fruit plantation could be very lucrative. Then for piggery, you see, piggery, I wanted to go into piggery. There is money. My people will say there is money. There is money in that piggery. Good money. Forget the fact that I don't eat it, but there are people that eat good meat, right? So, but what most of us look at is a very filthy job. And my people will tell you that it is in the bush that the money is. In my Yoruba parlance, they say Igbeluwa, meaning the money is right inside the bush, right? So it is in that filthy business that the money is. You get a piglet, nurse it over some time, it weighs like between 50, at times 100 kg, and they sell in kilos. By the time they come all the way from Delta, the Niger Delta, and the rest of them, and come and buy. In fact, I even had a friend of mine that was doing it in Okiaro, said they will make advance payment 2-3 months.
Wow.
Pay into your account, okay? I'm going to buy 20 tons. Please just keep it for me. 20 tons. I'm coming back in 2 months. So you have somebody's money to nurse that. So piggery is very good. But the other shortcoming in piggery again is this. You can't do it where you have live habitation, where you have so many people living around you. They'll be complaining because they stink a lot. Yeah, a lot of stench, people will complain, and there's no way you can clean up every day, do your sanitation and whatever it is, but they will not. They will either be the stench or even the noise itself. All those ones can put some people off. So that's why you need a settlement for that on its own. And I think for this, that's where Lagos State have a settlement for piggery in Berigbe, and I think they are doing very well.
Okay, let us look at another aspect of food processing, which is packaging. For your own aspect, you do smoking for fish. Most times we store food in tins and in Tetra packs and all of that, but you still find out that most of the stuff are not locally produced here. For instance, you just talked about the case of the guy who was into juicing manufacturing, eventually because of the issues, the business died down. But are we saying that locally here we don't really have industries or factories that can actually do well, maybe in canning of food or maybe putting them in Tetra packs?
Yes, we do. You see, for let me concentrate on fish canning. We know geisha, we know sardines, right? They are small fishes that they maybe just chop the head and the tail off, put a little oil or sauce, and seal it.
And they're getting smaller by the day.
Oh, you can say that again. So you see, all those ones are either made in Morocco, made in Ghana, made in all those areas I know, and they are really moving, right? But for now, we are exploring the possibility of canning our own African fish. What I mean by African fish is the one you call catfish.
Okay.
And that is what I refer to African fish. Okay. We are looking at canning that. But you see, the challenges that we have again there is this. If you want to can the size, the same size that you put of Titus, it will be an unripened fish, maybe a month old, and when you are eating such fish, you say, this fish is not, there's not much flesh, or the flesh is not hard enough. So we are now looking at the possibility of maybe getting the very mature one, descane it, and cut it, into pieces. For now, I know that NIOMA, Nigerian Institute of Oceanography, they have a project on ground right now, canning fish. But you see, like, they are research institutes, right? They have done their research, and we have seen that this research is good. But for investors now, to now put their money online, as okay, I want to buy this research. That is the stage they are now. They are now looking for research. And the association that I belong to the Association of Lagos State Catfish and Allied Farmers Association. We are also looking at the possibility, we are looking at the possibility of taking that project. Is a very good project. If we are able to take it off from them, then we'll be doing the canning. Can our own fish with sauce, either tomato sauce or oil, and begin to. But meanwhile, we have our smoked fish in all these Tetra packs, nylon packs, all these edible whatever. We have that already.
All right. Let's take some time to also bring in the viewers on the show and explore some of their angles as well. Ojo Shegun says one of the problems in doing business in Nigeria is the lack of mentors in business. I'm interested in this field of business. In fact, he's saying that what can your guest do to mentor me? But then, do you also see that as a challenge where there are younger people who are interested in agriculture, but then who do not have access to people like you who have had years of experience and who can put them through?
Yeah, if you recall my intro, I said I did a training under my auntie, right? So that means I have a mentor.
That's right.
Up till now, I still have mentors that I look up to. There's no business that you want to go into that you just want to rush into it. As we are rushing into it without a mentor, you rush back.
Rush out.
There's no two ways. So you need a mentor, however small the business might be. Which business is even small? There's no business that is small. Get a mentor. Every business has its own trade secrets. Every business. In fish farming, we have our own trade secrets that I cannot discuss with you. I cannot even discuss with any other person except maybe the person that I'm grooming. By the time I'm grooming the person, I will reveal all the trade secrets to him, right? It's just like Coca-Cola. They have their own secrets, right? They don't give it out, okay? It's the same thing. So it is, I will advise the person, get somebody within your locality. If the person is not in Lagos, if the person is in Lagos, you can attend our meetings. We meet at Okoba, or just look for any fish farmers around. Any good fish farmer that is doing well, attach yourself to him and begin to study. It may be for a fee. You pay for knowledge, right? So I think it's...
Okay, what about in all of your submissions, I noticed that you mentioned the place of off-taking and off-takers in all of this. For those of us who really don't understand them, what is the role of the off-taker really in this issue of value chain in Nigeria?
Okay. Now, when we talk about off-takers, I can sit in my farm and begin to process. I process every day. I begin to process. Who am I processing for? Somebody must come and get these materials. They are my own end products, right? I need somebody that will come and take them off. to take them off me. So that is an off taker. The person that will get them and send them into the market.
Okay.
And it has to be somebody that has the facility. Not somebody that will come to me and say, Oga, please, I want to take your fish. Okay, we value everything. How much is that? Maybe the batch we have is just about 500,000. Okay, Oga, please, I will take them out. When I sell, I will bring in your money. No, that's not an off-taker.
What's your experience with these, your personal experience with these off-takers?
The personal is, I'm talking from experience now.
Okay.
Some will tell you that, okay, please, I'm interested in this business. I want to be marketing. I will get them. When I sell, I will now come and give you your money. I said, no, don't do that. I've done it once, twice. I got my fingers burnt. The money, if at all the money comes back, the money will not come back as a whole. The money will be coming back in triples. And as it's even coming back in triples, it will not come back complete. So what I do, I identify very prominent off-takers and eateries where I supply. When they have need, they will call me, increase options, they have this, okay, what do you want? They tell me the quantity, give me time, 24 hours, 48 hours, I get there, I supply, and I collect my money. That is cash and carry basis. That is very good one.
But then before you can actually employ these services or just get to use them off-taker, that means you should be involved in a very large-scale production. Is it true?
Yes, surely. But you see, an off-taker, when we talk about, when we talk about an off-taker, it has to be somebody that has the facility.
When you say facility?
Yes, facility, not only financial facility.
Okay.
Not only financial. Because the off-taker, when he's taking it from you, he might not be able to sell off everything.
At the same time.
So that means he will need a warehouse, whether it is a cold warehouse or is a storage facility, anyway. Storage facility where he can store the unsold products without getting back to you that, oh, your products are bad. No. He must have a facility. And I will need to inspect his facility first and foremost before we sign an agreement of off-taker. I don't want an issue that, I got your fish day before yesterday and come and see all of them they have molds. If you don't have where to store these things, definitely they will have molds.
That's right.
They will.
But do you think that perhaps we don't run a working system where all those different aspects of the value chain can run independent of each other? We seem to have a situation where anything goes. I have money to start a farm, I can cultivate, I can process, I can sell, irrespective of the standard that is being used.
Yeah, you see, like we said earlier, you want to be one person, want to be the jack of all trades. All, right from he's the financier, he's the one that is producing, he's the one that is marketing, he's the one that is transporting, at times he could even be the one that is even eating the fish instead. It doesn't help.
Sounds like it's something.
Just identify where you have your strength, right? Identify that area. If you are very good in logistics, which is transport, flog that one. If your own is you can talk very well, you have marketers, you can convince people that you see this fish, there is honey in it, and you can convince people, flog that one, market it. A marketer necessarily does not mean to be the one in charge of logistics. You will go out, tell them about this fish. Oh, this fish is good, okay, get the fish for us. You will not get a logistics person, transport the fish to this person, go and supply. The record keeper, the bookkeeper, takes his own from there, collect the money, lodge it into the bank, right? Everybody should have his or her own role to play. But because you and I, we want to own the business 100%. The business is my own. It's my own. I am the chief executive, managing director of this business. What's the value of the business? Maybe maximum 5 million. But by the time you get people together, right, you have an expanded business, right? By the time the business is about 100 million worth or 200 million, and you can call yourself maybe an ordinary manager in a 100 million worth of business. That is
You know,
something.
someone said it's better to be a small part of a big thing than be a big part of a small thing.
Yes, right.
Let's take this message. It says, "Good morning. I appreciate your guest. But it keeps on saying government cannot do everything for us. Yes, we understand that. But at the same time, government needs to put more money into infrastructure because there's a limit for what an individual can do for themselves." That's Moshood Abiola from Ojodu Bega.
All right. You see, I still maintain my stand. You see that our mentality, until we wake up from that slumber of government must, I'm not saying should. Our mentality is that government must provide this. Government must. I keep on telling people, I say, government, yes, we are the government. Government is not my parent. It is my parent that can say my parent must send me to school. Right? The government did not give back to me. If the government wants to, let them do it. But if they cannot, the government also has a budget. Is it just like in my small house? My budget is about maybe 20,000, and you are now saying that I must provide everything worth 30,000. For goodness sake, where am I going to get the extra 10,000? It is the same thing with government. It's very simple. The government also has its own budget. Where do we expect the government to get the extra budget we are forcing the government to provide? The little that they can provide, let us also complement that. Okay. If they are able to get a small road, maybe if the road is about 10 kilometers and they're able to get 5 kilometers of the road accessible, the remaining 5 kilometers, let us find a way of managing that road.
Sorry, Justin. Talking about the role of government, especially in finance, let's explore the alternatives. Earlier you talked about cooperatives.
Sure.
How effective are they for farmers like you?
Yeah, you see, in farming, we have a saying that one hand cannot lift a load to the head. You need both hands, right? So I always encourage people. I belong to two prominent associations in Lagos State. National Association of Small Scale Industrialists, which is doing very well, and the Lagos State Catfish and Allied Farmers Association, which is also doing very well. Right? When we come together, there is that synergy of that group synergy. All right. There are so many things I don't know about, even with my years of experience in fish farming. There are so many things I don't know in fish farming, so many. But when we come together and we discuss technical issues, right? I learn. We discuss financial issues. I learn. On a daily basis, I keep learning and I keep learning. Now it is at such forum that you hear of government empowerment, or of maybe a financial institution that is trying to empower this, such information, they fly between the association and the body that is bringing in either the grant or the fund. So I always encourage people, farmers, whether we are young or we are old, get close, be members of such association. Any profession that you are into, get close to the association or group.
Okay, we'll talk. I still want us to talk more on government involvement because there's an angle I want to look at. But before we get into that, let me just read Peter's message. Peter wrote to us from Facebook this morning. Peter Agbo, he says, "My name is Peter Agbo. I would like to go into farming in the north, and I don't have money, as in large capital to start, and I just have a little knowledge on yam farming. How do I get started, even when I don't have a job?" So this is another angle. Most people really are passionate about farming. They've gone to get knowledge and they feel they need like a huge capital startup to do this business. For those who really don't have it, is there other ways they could go about getting financial help?
Okay, let me start this way. You see, I keep referring to myself as a village man, right? Yes, when you want to cross a stream, you don't jump inside the stream, do you? No, you test the waters with one leg first. Yes. When you find that leg is very stable, you can now lift the second leg and begin to get across the stream. It is the same thing in every business. Now, this gentleman said he has something, not much. Start with that something first. Don't it is, even if it is not business, even if it's not farming, don't ever start any business big. No.
Okay.
Because if you start big, if you are going to fall, you will fall big. But if you start small, right, if you are going to fall, you still fall small. And I keep telling people, if you go into business and you don't fail once, there's no way you can succeed, right? Because you are going to learn. You will learn from that failure. Even though you had mentors, right, you will still have 1 or 2 failures. That failure will now teach you better than your mentor. So if it's yam the person wants to, you can start by maybe getting 2 or so hectares of land. Even if it's a plot, right? Get a plot of land, get some seed, and begin to plant. When those ones are doing well, you know that, okay, I have done very well. If they are not doing well, right, you learn what happened. What did I do wrong that did not allow this seed to germinate? You learn. With that, you begin to grow gradually and gradually. And it is not good also to start a business, especially farming business, with a borrowed fund. No. It's not. Start on your own first. Have the foundation. When you have the foundation and the bankers see that you have, even if it's just the equivalent of the German floor, you are just scratching the ground. You say, yes, you can see. By the time they come, the bankers will also do their own feasibility assessment. Okay, this area is good. This business we are seeing on the ground, okay, yes. By the time they do the analysis, sensitivity analysis, and the rest of them say, we want to support this business. If it's not good, the banker will tell you, sorry, we can't come into this business. By then, what you have just wasted will just be only the little foundation that you have laid. So, to this gentleman, I will encourage him, advise him to start with whatever it is that he has.
Okay, then another viewer still on Facebook this morning. This one's from Odufoye Emmanuel Oduf. He says, I like this, your guest on the program, from banking to fish farming. I have learned a lot from him. I'm presently an undergraduate studying agricultural extension and rural development. I love your topic this morning. Now let me get to my question. I know you've underscored that the federal government or the government itself cannot really do all, that we need to play our own part. I still want us to talk about the government now, because over time they've rolled out intervention programs, special funds, lots, just to, help boost agricultural production in Nigeria. But the question for me would be, all of those funds, I don't know, you might correct me if I'm wrong, are simply directed towards, the core production, as in the primary production of agriculture. Has the government, in its own intervention, helped anyway in the value chain of agriculture, aside from the direct primary agric production?
Well, I think to answer that, during the last administration, the former Minister of Agric, that's Additional tried a lot. He tried a lot, and on what Additional did, the present administration really, they are building on it. Additional did a program that we call GES. That's a growth enhancement scheme, where they give each farmer what we call a seed. Right? For those of us that are into fish farming, they give us fingerlings and feeds. Then those who are into crop, they give them seed, and just like that, and it was a very good. But where Additional stopped, that's where this present government is now building on. There's a program that the federal government, in conjunction with CBN, they are doing now. They call it Anchor Borrowers Program. Now, the Anchor Borrowers Program, which has started in so many states, Ebonyi has taken off, Anambra has taken off, I think Benue too has taken off. Lagos, we are in the process of concluding ours, because each state has its own value chain, agri value chain allotted to it. Lagos State is fish and poultry. So that's where we now coming. So what they are doing really is they are looking at empowering the primary farmers. And at the same time, they are building up the off-takers, right? Identify credible off-takers. So with both hands, as they are building up the off-takers, they are also building up the primary farmers. Okay. So by the time the primary farmers are being empowered financially, then the the off-takers also can buy off from them. All right. And as they are empowering the primary farmers, apparently, because I'm a banker, apparently by the time you empower me, my cost of production will definitely come down. And when my cost of production come down, it is expected, they said I'm very greedy, except that one. My selling price should also come down. And if that is done, that will be an achievement to the president and government by bringing down food prices. Because if I get a loan from the scheme at 5 or maybe 9%, unlike the normal 20%, 30% that I've gotten from the bank, if I'm trading, I'm doing business at 9%, then apparently I can't sell as if I'm still doing business at 20%. No, that would be a serious misnomer. So I want to really appreciate the present government now that what they are doing with the Anchor Borrowers program is a little bit.
Let's talking about what happens to the farm produce, after plantation and harvest and the rest. There's a message here from Emeka. He says, how can you advise me, sir? I have a small farm, about 5 acres, and my dry corn is ready for harvest, but no one to buy. My farm is in Ogun State.
Dry corn. And you see, one thing with farming also is you need networking. And this dry corn that he was talking about, there was a time I'm not into corn, but there was a time somebody was looking frantically for corn. Sometimes last year, frantically, and I mean frantically, and he was willing to buy at any price. So that takes me back to what I said earlier. You see, for this person that is into corn farming, they have association of maize producers. They have, like us, the fish farmers, we have that association and we have a platform. When I have stock to sell, I push it on the platform. I have this ready for sale. Okay, by the time before the thing lands, people will begin to call you. Yes, tell me the price. Where's your location? That is networking. So he also needs to do what he needs to network. That is very, very critical.
What's your experience with exportation of farm produce?
Exportation. The problem, especially our own products. And maybe generally, let me talk generally. Generally, our agri products. Most of our agri products do not meet the standards. Most of them.
Why are they not meeting
Most
standards?
of them. The inputs, maybe you get the seed. What we use as a fertilizer to fertilize, right? They are not standard. You just get one whatever and begin to load. And at the end of the day, you harvest your corn, and by the time they take it to the lab and test, they will tell you that, well, this corn is cancerous. That is one. In the fish business, which is my own area, right? There is a way you can grow your fish. You can grow your fish, and within 3 months, you will have a very big fish. I've said that one earlier. You have a very big fish. But how healthy is that fish? The same thing in poultry. The same thing in piggery, right? You feed them, they come out big. In fact, there are so many nutrients all over the place. Grow your fish in 3 months. This fish grow, this grow, poultry grow, whatever grow. But all those chemicals, are not edible. They are very cancerous. So by the time you now send this one to the international market, and they now look at this and say, well, sorry, we can't bring this one in.
It appears the standard is higher outside than it is within the country.
Their standard is not higher. See, if their standard is high, that standard is meant to protect their own indigenous, their citizens, right? So we also should have the same set standard. We should. Now, I come back to fish processing. There are some people that they don't use smoking kiln to smoke. They use this hot drum, put fire on it, and begin to smoke. Local ones. By the time you just look, the whole thing is black and very sandy. It could be very cheap, but how hygienic is it? Very, very cancerous.
The health implication.
We used to export our fish all over the place until when some EU members came and they saw our women in the open place smoking fish. They said, "What? Is this how you smoke fish in Nigeria?" Ever since then, they ban our fish.
That will bring me to this question that, or maybe a comment one of our guests just sent in. I will still want you to react. That's on the role of technology. He says, good morning. Please, there is a gap in the value chain. The role of food technology is not appreciated by the government and individuals. That's from Oguntola from Ota in Ogun State. You just mentioned that, and he just hit the point, the nail on the head. Food technology. I even know in school there's a food science and technology as a course, in our tertiary institutions. You just mentioned the fact that most of our local women who are into smoked fish, they don't do it, with modern technologies. I'm sure in your business there's a way technology has helped, take care of a lot of issues that you've had over time, or people have had over time. How come we've not really appreciated, the place of our technology in the value chain processing?
Well, I will agree with him to an extent. But I would like to summarize before I make comments. I know we will get there. If you want to get, as a processor, if you want to get approved by NAFDAC, you must have a food scientist in your factory. You must. It's a requirement. It is a requirement. And I think that's a very good one. Because many of us, maybe we are ex-bankers, ex-military men, there is little money, you set up a farm, and you begin to process either chicken or whatever it is, and you think that, by the time you roll them out to the market, that's okay. No, that's not okay. You need a food scientist to certify that, yes, what you are doing on the farm is good. The moment he can put his job on the line, like, we certify this product to be good, then that means it is good. So that's why I say we will get there. Though now we are not appreciating them yet. But I know that as time goes on, because NAFDAC is not relenting in ensuring that anything that is going into the mouth that you and I are producing, there must be a food scientist there to put his pen that, well, this is good for consumption. So I believe we will get there.
Someone is taking us back to the role of government here. Rashid Lamidi. He says the government is not helping the rural poor farmer. According to him, he went into cocoa farming 4 years ago without any assistance from government, either on cocoa seedling or treatment, chemicals against insects and the rest. But he said he had from a friend who lives in the Ivory Coast that government gives all those things out to farmers free.
Well, you see, you're talking of a family of 4.
Okay.
And you are comparing that family of 4 with a family of 20. Apparently, there is no basis for comparison. There is no basis. We are talking of almost 200 million Nigerians. Almost 200 million Nigerians. And now that we are saying, okay, let it be backward integration. Let all of us go back to the farm, right? Like I said, the government will do the little that they can do.
I appreciate your
budget,
your school of thought, and it promotes being independent-minded. And
yes.
But then, is it not also just giving government the liberty, especially in a situation where there's this growing perception that government is not doing enough within its capacity, as it were?
You see, to say that the government is not doing enough, it is not right. It's not right to say government is not doing enough. The Yoruba people will say that the fowl is sweating, but the feather that is covering it It's not allowing people to see the sweat. The government also, they are trying. Not that they are not doing enough. They are really trying. Just before I came, I was watching one of the media where they were talking about the 5,000 monthly stipend for whatever it is, and somebody called in to say it is late. At least they have started. Yes, we have started. Let us just be a little patient. Let us follow them gradually. Now, the last time they gave us what they call empowerment in the agric is quite about 2 years ago. But still, we are not complaining. They did it before. If they have, you and I, we are in recession. The government also is in recession. So not until when we all come out from recession, before we now begin to see, yes, government, you have this money, you don't want to spend the money. Where is the money we expect the government to spend? Many of us will say, okay, let them just go and print the money and send to us. No, it doesn't work that way.
You talked about recession. How has it affected the agri value chain, especially in your field?
Well, the recession, to be very candid, the generally the agri sector is not worse hit like others, because come what may, you must eat.
Because someone seemed to disagree, and he is asking a question. Because okay, let me just read it verbatim. He says, "These are from Muazzam Mohammed." He says, "Well, this topic is good because in this present day Nigeria, in an economy and with all the economic recession, turning back from farming to agriculture will be beneficial." But he says, "But my question is, what if this changes later on and becomes non-lucrative? Could agriculture get to a point when it will no longer be lucrative?" That's what he's saying here. This is Muazzam Mohammed.
Agriculture can never be less lucrative.
Okay.
As long as you get married and you have children, and the children begin to grow, they must eat. Right? And what will they eat? They will not eat sand. They have to eat the farm products. Right? A baby needs, even the adult, those of us that are old, we need protein. We need the fish, we need the meat, we need the beans and the rest of them. We need the farm products to keep alive. I can wear this jacket for 2 years. I'm not growing taller, I'm not growing fatter, I can begin to wear it. So maybe you can say that maybe the garment industry probably might be having the heat of recession, but the food industry, as I'm living here, I will get to the restaurant and eat pounded yam.
You're saying all you need to do is increase the price. People are still going to buy it.
They will. They will buy.
Well, even if they don't really have the wherewithal.
You cannot eat your money. You can't eat the money. You must buy food. Even if you can't, if you have 200 naira with you, right, and you are hungry, you will never think of transport. You will think of eating first. Let me eat first. When I eat, I will use the strength inside. I will not trek to where I want to get to.
Trek the distance.
Yes. So the farm products, they must always buy.
Okay.
But then another thing is that with all of this intervention funds, you just mentioned the CBN Anchor program, although we'll get into that in subsequent discussions on the show. You know, most people who are in the sector, stakeholders say, most times when all of these programs and intervention funds are being brought up by the government, it ends up being hijacked by people who are not really core farmers.
That's right.
Well, there is no empirical evidence to show. We only assume, right? We have not really caught somebody, okay, well, you hijacked this. But so far, so good. The fact that the government announced that, okay, we are rolling out this empowerment program. If you and I are suspecting that it is being hijacked or that there is a possibility that it will be hijacked, that's why you have the social group, the pressure group, right? Look at what our state governor did, the lake rice.
That's right.
Right? I happen to be a bit close to them. You know what the guy did? He sent out monitoring team to each of the locations. Let me see somebody that will come and hijack it here. Monitoring team, silent monitoring team. You go there, queue up, buy your one bag of rice and leave. Pay to the bank, buy your one bag of rice and leave. Unlike what probably some other people will say, they will hijack, they will hijack. It was never hijacked. So if you can do something like that, if it has been hijacked earlier, we are now waking up now. We are waking up. The moment we hear, oh, there's going to be an empowerment, okay, let us know, let there be observers. Let all of us go there and let us now go and observe how it is going to be. And if we are now suspecting that it's been hijacked and we have evidence, please, we can make our case.
Okay, Peter was still sent a question here, that sent one earlier, but he says, may God bless you all for your great job. He still wants to find out more. So since I don't have a job, I would like to do that's farming as a business and as a means of livelihood, meaning I'll be living on the same farming. I'm really finding it difficult to cope.
You see, farming, each business, especially farming, has its gestation period. For fish, it depends on what area you want to look at. If you want to rear for those of us who process, in 3 months, you can get the size of fish that I will need to process in 3 months. Because what I need to smoke, again, depends on the market. We have various markets. We have those markets that they don't want small sizes of fish. Then we have the elite like you that you want the one with big heads. You know, those ones with big heads will take like 5 to 6 months to rear. All right. So if he is not all that patient, within 3 months he can rear such fishes 3 months, right? And offload to the processors. That means sell to the processors, those who will buy from him. So if he doesn't have enough money, like I said, you don't need to start big. Just start very, very small. Right? The beginning may be a bit tough.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. It may be a bit tough. If you don't accommodate or what do you call encourage, if you don't accommodate hunger, there's no way you can prosper. Right?
Okay.
You bear the hunger, bear the pain of the hunger. Put it in 3 months is not too long.
Timothy sent a message earlier from Ogumosho. He has sent another, and he's asking, I think based on the way you hyped piggery, he's asking, are you advising that I take a loan for piggery farming?
I don't. If it's a starter, I don't advise that. Any farming, I don't advise. If it's fresh, but if it is an ongoing business and you want to expand, yes, because you see the naked truth is that most banks, if not all of them, they hardly, and it's not, I'm not contravening what I said earlier, they hardly give loan to startups, they hardly. But when they see a good business, a good startup business, they know it, they can give. But piggery, they say, okay, piggery is good. But piggery also has its own technicalities and challenges. If he has not started it at all, I can't see any bank going into financing piggery from scratch. I can't see it.
Okay, then, let us stay on your fish processing business for a bit now. Okay, for people who really want to get into that particular aspect of the value chain of fish production, okay, let them understand, just take us through the day-to-day involvement in fish smoking business. Yes.
Okay. The first thing to do is getting the facility, and the key facility here is the smoking kiln. That's what others refer to as maybe an oven.
Okay.
And the oven can be powered by either charcoal, gas, or electricity. But in Nigeria, we prefer the product that is powered by charcoal.
Why is it preferable?
Because when you smoke with a charcoal powered oven, you get the aroma of that smoked fish. Whether it is the fish, whether you can use it for poultry products, so you can smoke poultry products. You can use it to smoke bushmeat. So they perceive that aroma of it being smoked. If you use gas or electricity, what that one does, what each one of them do is it dries. You just extract the water and dry it up, and it becomes like stockfish.
Okay.
You are familiar with stockfish?
Yeah.
It just be dry like that. But if it is charcoal, it will, all of them will stay boil and cook the fish, but the charcoal products will bring out that aroma. Yes, this is a village product. Okay, so get the facility first. Okay, when you have, and the facilities, they are in various sizes. You can get a fairly small one that maybe you can smoke only 50 kg. You can get one of 100, of 200, like that, depending on your capacity. Okay, when your facility is set, the next thing will be if you are just if you are just smoking for the market and you don't want to package, right? If you are going to package, you will need a standard NAFDAC approved processing plant.
Okay.
They have their specification, right? They will give you all the things that they will need if you need to package. But if you are not packaging, you just want to smoke, get to the market, supply people, okay, yes, just get your smoking kiln, get a decent place that you want to put it, and then continue your process. So getting your facility set, then the next thing is your major input. And the major input is the fish itself. Now for the fish, you will need at least a reservoir, a fairly moderate bath, or a container where you can put the fish when you get them for some time. If you are not ready to start smoking right now, just like a transit, you will need a place like that. But if you don't, maybe you just want to get it and smoke, you get your very good product. And like I said earlier, you need to identify the fish that you want to smoke. You really need to identify. You can ask questions when you get to the farmer you want to buy the fish from. Oh, sir, how old are your fishes? By the time they begin to brag and tell you, these fishes are big, they are just 3 months, and they are so big. Sir, what did you use to feed these fish? And they begin to bring out, okay, you use this, this is their formulation, blah, blah, blah. You analyze their formulation, and you now decide, oh, okay, well, if it is good for you, fine. Buy whatever you want to buy and get to your workplace. When you have your inputs, that's the fish, you do what we call stunning. The layman will say you kill. No, you don't kill fish. You don't. You stun them. Stunning means you make them unconscious, so that you can do whatever you want to do with them. So, and the way we stun is we use salt to stun them. The irony of it is this: when a fish, if you are doing fish farming, when the fish is sick, you use salt to treat the sickness.
It's the same salt you used to.
It's the same salt that you use to kill the fish.
Kill the fish.
Yeah, if the salt is too much, the fish will die. So you use salt to stun. So when they are stunned, they are dazed. So you can now begin to cut them open, the belly, you degut, like you remove all the intestines, the gills, you remove them. And while we do that, the intestines and the gills are not edible. Though some people eat the gills, but the intestines are not edible. You have all the whatever, all the junks inside. So you degut them, clean them. Again, you use salt again to clean off. Because why we need to do a thorough cleaning is this: a typical catfish is very slimy.
That's right.
I hope you know that. Very, very slimy. You see, that slime in the body helps in fighting germs when they are inside the water.
Okay.
But when they are outside the water, that same slime is very, very poisonous. Very, very poisonous. So that's why we need salt to wash off until when they are clean. Some people go the extra mile of using alum to wash. But recent research shows that alum is not good for consumption.
Okay.
It's not good. So ordinary salt is enough. Edible salt. Use edible salt, you wash off. By the time they are thoroughly clean, if you want to cut them into pieces, fine. If you want to fold them the way our mothers fold them, the way you have it on the market now, you can fold them without using any stick to hold it, because you don't know where the stick, the brooms are from. No. Okay. You don't use it.
So
just fold them.
How do you hold them in a circle without putting a stick?
Sticking them with something.
There is a way we have, that's a trade you need to learn.
Okay.
When they are very, very clean, if you fold, if they are very clean, sharp, if you fold them, put the tail inside the mouth.
Okay.
Beside the gills, you now pull it out.
Pull it out.
To be firm.
Wow.
Yes.
Expertise.
You just
Very
did something
firm.
today.
Yes, very firm. So you now lay them on the tray, allow the water to drip, right, for some few minutes. When the water is well dripped, you can now begin to load into a preheated oven.
Okay.
By the time you are doing the stunning, by that time you should have been powering your oven.
The oven, okay.
Whether it is charcoal, your charcoal must be ready, hot, burning hot. I just load them into the oven.
Well
You
said.
begin to watch after some time. If your clients want fairly done, if they want hardcore, you begin to monitor them and don't allow them to get burned. If they are too dry, they'll be very bitter.
Oh.
Very very bitter. Yeah.
So you have to be conscious of the fact that they
You
don't have to be too dry
not
or
too dry,
too,
not
you
too
know,
dry.
wet. Okay.
And some people go the extra mile of maybe seasoning. It depends on what your customer wants.
Okay.
You season with a little pepper
With
or
pepper.
ginger or whatever it is. But because where we supply to international hotels, they don't want all this. Just remove all the intestine,
That's more
season
just
salt, just ordinary salt.
I can smell the fish already, and I know that just salivating. Sadly,
I love the fishes. Okay, let me just take this one before we round off completely. This one, well, the last part is funny. But I'll try and paraphrase. It says, I am Choma from Enugu. I love your program. Government are only empowering their brothers and sisters. I never knew government had brothers and sisters. All right.